and his celebrations and shenanigans too.
All right, Alleycats in bad need of a point. Michael Ames came down with the pull. By the way, some of the guys who are out for both teams: Nick Pappas for Indianapolis, Jack Kemp, Nar Charles, Riley Ulmer, Trey Dines, and Matthew Weaver. All those guys are out for Indianapolis tonight. And for Chicago, Dylan Nice, Victor Luo, Sam Kaminsky, Jeff Weiss, Jake Steslick, Tim Schock, also Simon Dastrup and Grant Harris. Those are the guys also out. And Jack Galley also not here for Indianapolis.
One notable return for Indy tonight is Drew Hoppy, coming back from his ACL tear last season.
And that was a shame when that happened to him, because he was having a really good year, 7 assists and 9 goals, as there's Hoppy could not hang on to that, which is frustrating because he's been close on a couple of plays. Now, Alleycats, of course, know Xavier Payne real well, and he's been double teamed a lot, but he's able to find a way out of it, seems like most of the time.
Has not seemed to affect him tonight.
Bruner looking around, got it in the end zone, and the Union really on point right now. That time, Jesse Johnson. And the interesting thing, too, Kelsey, all of their points for the Union have been different guys that have scored. So that's the other very impressive thing about the way they go about their business.
Hey, it's a deep roster. They have a really solid team this year. Talking to Coach Woods earlier, we said they're number 2 in the power rankings. Coach Woods doesn't want it to get to their heads, though. He says that they've received a lot of undue hype from the league. He says they haven't played as cleanly as they could, so they need to keep improving and become the best Union team they can be, better each week.
He says that every year, but usually every year it's Chicago at the top, near the top of the Central Division. That is the case again this year, and I think you're seeing the Alleycats. Looks like that's Nick Pappas, who's not able to play tonight. I think he's telling the guys, communicate, talk out there. It's a big part of it. Indianapolis has 4 minutes and change to try to cut into this deficit.
Chicago just putting on a clinic right now.
Yeah, this is a different Union team. This is one of the more talented teams I've seen Dave Woods have, and he's had a lot of talented ones.
I mean, you can see why the people are already talking about championship potential with this Union team.
Yep.
Even though Coach Woods might not want his guys to hear it quite yet.
Nope, he won't. But there's no doubt he's playing for August. That's the month where he wants to be the most busy, because that's when his team would be contending for a championship. Alleycats still trying to get on track offensively. And the Union defense has really done a suffocating job. How many times have we seen the Alleycats backtrack? A lot. Carey able to work the disc around. Alleycats finally starting to get some movement. Cole Heiser has it. Now he gets it to Havey. Havey going back opposite way, and Carson Chamberlain comes down with it. Carey. Seth Goodeman's in the back of the end zone trying to get open, and the dive, he can't get there. That's been the story of the first quarter for Indianapolis. Samuel Ingham lunges out, tries to get it. Now you just hope that he's okay, as he's slow to get up.
Definitely don't want to see anybody go down. Ingham on the O-line would be a huge loss for the Alleycats. Good thing he's able to walk it off. Hopefully he's all right.
So far, great first season for him. 5 assists, 2 goals, and 1 block. He's been making an impact in a lot of different ways.
You see Ben Landry helping him off the field there. That's another big loss for Indianapolis. Ben is still recovering from a hamstring strain. Cats are hoping to have him back next week. He would add a lot of stability to the handler space.
And also talking to him in recent weeks before prior games, he's got a ton of knowledge about Ultimate.
Very good player. Been at it for a long time.
Mylan Rivas turned around, got it to Wilson Matthews. Matthews cannot hang on, though. Break chance for Indianapolis.
Alleycats desperately need to get on the board here.
And the Union have done a good job on Goodeman. Again, we featured Goodeman, talked about the numbers he's put up. That time Gabe Shopke was on him and done a good job. Goodeman trying to get loose. Shopke staying right with him. Been close looking around. Plays catch with Heiser. Now Heiser nearly has it taken away, but hangs on. Joey Carey is in the end zone trying to come get it, but he's fronted well. This time, though, the Alleycats execute, and it's Jason Kemp sliding in for the first goal of the night and his third goal of the season overall.
Alleycats on the board, found a way to answer, and those two played high school ultimate together at Center Grove down in Greenwood, Indiana. It's cool to see them connect on the professional level.
And also good to see Cole Heiser. He is really putting together a well-rounded season for Indianapolis. That's his 9th assist. He also has 6 goals and 5 blocks. He was a small part of the team last year, had 3 assists and 1 goal, but Heiser has really come on. And that, you know, if this is indeed a year that stays in the rebuilding side for Indianapolis, Kelsey, Heiser can be a bright spot. You know, this can be a year where he really grows and develops into a player that can be a hallmark for this team in coming years.
I think we're already seeing him step into that role that the Alleycats need him to. He was actually featured in the game preview article that came out earlier this week as well. So the league's starting to take notice of Mr. Heiser.
Union.
This is the first time we've seen the Chicago Union on offense.
Jack Shanahan's got it now.
The offensive line, rather,
Yep.
starting on offense.
Arters, Paul Arters looking in the end zone, and the Union come right back and have the answer score in the form of that nice play there by Chicago. And that was well done by Jeff Weiss, who came across.
Nice clean offense there. Quick point. Punching it in for the hold, and now that Alleycats O-line is going to have to take the field again.
Weiss just got his 4th goal of the year, making it now 6-1 Chicago. So in the Central Division, because of the Union's win over Minnesota, they also have wins over Atlanta and Madison. They're at the top of the Central Division at 3-0. The wind chill right behind them because of that loss to Chicago at 5-1. The Madison Radicals are 3-3. Then it's Indianapolis, of course, at 2-3. Pittsburgh at 2-4. And Detroit at the bottom at 0-3. That's how the Central Division is at this point. There's Xavier Payne with the pull. Yeah, this was, and when he played for Indianapolis, he was often the guy that was executing the pull because of how how deep he could throw it and pin you back in your own zone.
Done that many, many times over his 8 seasons in the UFA. He spent 4 here in Indianapolis before moving on to Chicago this season.
And also, you and I were talking a little bit this week about Chicago. They got a pretty good feeder system, don't they? A lot of guys play club, don't they?
They do. Large ultimate community up there in Chicago.
Center Grove's a good ultimate area like you talked about earlier, so was Westfield. Carey. We're getting down to crunch time here at the end of the first quarter. Less than 10 seconds to go. Jack Havey to Ingham. Ingham to the end zone, and the Alleycats get the score when they need it with 4 seconds to play. And coming across, Kemp. So Jason Kemp has both scores tonight for Indianapolis.
Great field awareness there by Kemp to toe that line. He was getting close to the edge. Great work by the Alleycats with their backs against the wall of the clock there. punching one in, and now the Union will have 4 seconds to pull off a deep shot.
Well, cardiac cats, right? That's kind of how they do it. How many times have you and I seen, as you look at Kemp's numbers tonight, 38 throwing yards, 25 receiving yards? They find a way to score a lot at the end of quarters. And if they don't, it seems like there's always action between either them or somebody else they're playing against at the end of a period. And the biggest thing they don't want to have happen is the Union to get down quickly. 4 seconds.
Speaking of that end of quarter action, you see Ben Close on the corner of your screen there. A couple weeks ago, he made a heroic grab to end a quarter.
Nicholas Betch, the one who conducts the poll for Indianapolis. Well done. There's 2, there's 1. This looks like it won't have the distance, but knocked down. So Nate Goff had a shot at it, could not get it, and that takes care of the end of the first quarter. A quarter that the Chicago Union controlled, and they lead the Indianapolis Alleycats 6-2. Second quarter, comes your way when we come back on WatchUFA.tv.
It's a normal day until the unthinkable.
Oh no!
The water heater has sprung a massive leak. But you're not worried. You have a direct line to Walt Waterman. Step aside, folks. We got this.
Thanks, Walt.
It's what we do. For all levels of residential plumbing repairs and service, call or text Winters Plumbing. We're called Winters Plumbing, but we serve every season.
Throw like a pro with a new Pro Ultimate Frisbee. Created with input from the sport's premier passers, the Pro Frisbee is specially designed to fly through the wind and maintain its edge. Experience the official Frisbee of the UFA and get yours at shopufa.com today.
About to start the second quarter in Indianapolis at Kuntz Stadium. Let's take a look at some of those first quarter stats, and as you can probably imagine, all Union in that regard. Yeah, the O-line conversion, which we talked about for Indianapolis, Kelsey, that needed to be better. So far, just 2 of 9.
Tough start for Indianapolis against a Chicago Union team that leads the league in takeaways. Looking to bolster their resume tonight by crushing the Alleycats O-line so far.
One thing, too, that's helped the Union in this weather, in these conditions, they only have 4 incompletions, and the Alleycats have 7. There's, of course, Frisbee, the Alleycat mascot, trying to get the Cats back into it. Now, Jason Kemp was a bright spot there. He scored 2 goals in the first quarter. Can the Alleycats build on that? They do have to have the pull, though, and throw it. They're giving it back to Chicago to start the second quarter as Drew Shepard tries to get his guys fired up. Along with Kelsey Sparks, I'm John Herrick. It is great to be with you. And this time the Alleycats opt to go with the rolling pull and try to pin the Union near the sideline.
On the first offensive point for the Union, they got it moving up the field really quickly, got into a rhythm before the Alleycats could establish a real defensive presence. So I like that roller pull.
Wilson Matthews is the one holding on to it right now. Has to give it back to Brandon Van Dusen. 7 assists, 2 blocks for him. He was previously with LA before coming to Chicago. Matthews again with it. Now Van Dusen in some trouble here. Good job by Michael Ames to give him some issues. Ames trying to chase him around again, but Van Dusen comes back to get it. Fakes the hammer throw. Paul Arders giving it up to Dan DeMare. Throw almost knocked away, but that's the way the Union do it. They seem to always find a way to be patient. And there's Jeff Weiss with his second goal of the night to put the Union back on top by 5.
DeMare getting involved with that play. The league's been talking about him a lot lately as well. He's a European All-Star. It's his first year in the UFA, and there's some talk about him being a contender for Rookie of the Year.
And he just came up with his 6th assist on the year to go along with 2 goals and 3 blocks from Belgium. And how about the night that Jeff Weiss is having it? I thought he was listed as out coming into tonight, but apparently he is able to play. So Weiss already making a pretty big impact on this game for Chicago. And if you are, and Kelsey, you've played a lot of ultimate action in your life. When you're in a situation like this and you're behind against a pretty superior opponent, what's your mindset like, and how do you try to get yourself out of it?
1 point at a time. I think that's all you can do. Focus on what you can control. Don't let your head spin into all the what if scenarios and what if this gap continues. Just focus on what you can control and take it 1 point at a time.
Well, Chicago came right back with a rolling pull of their own, and I think there was some contact on the ensuing play where, again, you're not allowed to touch the player. If you do that, it's a foul. And look, there was some contact by Chicago. So Cole Heiser gets to have it now at the middle of the field. Able to get it to Kemp. Might have to just, if you're Indianapolis, look more at what Heiser and Kemp can do. Those 2 guys are having some success. Joey Carey comes over to get it. And just looking downfield at the Chicago defense and the way they're playing Indianapolis, there's always a man with a man, it feels like. It's just it's like there's a lot of white jerseys covering a lot of green.
Pretty smothering defense so far by the Union. Alleycats could also benefit by just timing their cuts a little bit better, making them a little bit sharper. Sometimes the handler's getting stuck back there with no viable option downfield.
Contact there, but who's the foul on? And they are pointing Chicago's way. So the foul on the Union that allows the Cats to move the disc up. Can Indianapolis take advantage? Carey looking for some help. Able to get it up the field to Heiser again. Cole Heiser's been in just about all the action, it feels like. Throws back, part of the end zone, sliding grab made by Seth Goodeman. We were wondering when Seth would get free, and finally he does, and that brings the Alleycat crowd back into this.
Seth Goodeman with his first score of the night, but likely won't be his last with the way he's been playing this season. That layout invigorates the crowd a little bit, like you said.
That's his 17th goal of the year. So now it looks like the Alleycats have started to get their footing underneath them. This was a very wet surface when Kelsey and I both arrived, and it was raining quite a bit. Now things are calming down a little. I think the Cats have those jitters out of them, but they've trailed by as many as 5. They've cut it to 4. Now can they get a break opportunity? Fans are back into it, waving the green and white checkered Alleycats flag. It's good to see. But the Union are the Union for a reason. 3 minutes gone by here in the second. Jack Shanahan up to get that. Fight for the disc and won. Nicholas Betch was battling for it with Nate Goff. Goff won the battle to it and finds Weiss again. You know, Jeff Weiss, a pretty interesting combination of size and speed, and he's a tough cover for anybody.
He is, and he's had a great game so far tonight. Goff set him up perfectly for that. Union with a very quick hold on that point.
That's one of the things that is tough about playing the Union, and we've seen this happen, Kelsey, over the last several years whenever the Alleycats have played Chicago. When they start to get ground, it's hard to gain any more ground, because the Union do a good job of holding. It's hard to get break chances once they get the lead.
Yeah, the Alleycats have been doing a pretty good job on defense this year. Coach Shepard said that he felt like they'd been playing some smothering D and wanted that to continue tonight, but we have not seen it thus far. So they're going to have to make some adjustments if they're going to slow down this Union O-line and get some break opportunities.
And they go with the rolling pull towards the sideline again. They were able to get it back further than last time. And Gabe Shopke wants to play some smothering defense of his own. A bit of a hammer throw there. And Ingham comes down with it.
I'm really impressed by that throw from Cole Heiser to get out of the double team on the high stall count.
Gudeman up to get it. Ingham again. Gudeman trying to break free, and he does get free and scores for Indianapolis. All right, so Seth Gudeman, after being quiet in the first quarter, starting to come alive here in the second.
There we go. That's why he's our player to watch, leading the Alleycats in almost every category, but especially goals. 18th goal of the season for Seth right then.
And it was interesting, Kelsey, when we saw Seth first come on into the UFA, it was, as we take another look at that goal, it felt like he was more of a defensive player at first, and then he really got his offensive game going. And I think being on the sideline, learning from Cam Brock, learning from Levi Jacobs, Rick Gross, guys like that, former Alleycat players, really did a lot of good for Seth.
Of course, the mentorship played a huge role in Seth's development, and honestly, the Alleycats just needed somebody to step up and fill those huge shoes, and Seth has been the guy.
Now the Alleycat defensive line needs to come up with a big play. It's funny, in the first quarter, everybody went with the long arching pull. Now this quarter, everybody's done the rolling pull. And that might make the Cats rethink it, because Chicago got a short field. They capitalized with the short field, and it's Wilson Matthews who just scored his 9th goal of the season.
Miscommunication downfield there from the Alleycats. I mean, the reason that you do that roller pull on the sideline is so you can establish your defense downfield. Don't let the Union get moving before you're able to catch up to them. And Alleycats just had a miscommunication downfield, and Chicago took advantage.
And usually when you do the rolling pull, doesn't that allow you to set your defense up? Like, give you time at least, or
gives you time? Yes, there's no rule that the Union has to wait for you, but if you're running both to midfield, you're gonna get there close to the same time,
right? As
opposed to the Alleycats having to sprint down 80 yards there to the other end zone.
Well, Union sticking with the rolling pull themselves. Wilson Matthews with a little wave at the camera. He's obviously in a great mood after that.
Seth Gudeman picking that up on the sideline, probably because of his size.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the smaller Alleycat guys have struggled just to get it away from the large Union double team.
And for those of you who maybe don't know, when Kelsey referred to the stall count as there's a foul on Chicago, Jace Bruner makes contact on Jack Havey there that allows the Cats to move the disc up. It's when the stall count gets high, that means it's a turnover, and you can't. I think, how long is the stall count, Kelsey? Is it 12 seconds?
7 seconds.
7 seconds, right. Okay.
So it's a pretty quick moving game.
Yep. Gudeman coming alive. So Seth Gudeman has scored now all 3 goals in this quarter for Indianapolis.
And Indianapolis has matched Chicago 3-3 this quarter. So after a rough start for the Cats, Q2 is all even.
Yep, it was a 6-2 advantage Chicago after one. Seth Goodman's totally changed that. There was one play in the first quarter where he slipped and had some issues, and then there was one where he threw the disc to the end zone where it looked like he might have a score, but it was incomplete, giving the disc back to Chicago, as the pull looks like it'll be done here by Nicholas Betch. So let's see if Indy decides to go with the rolling pull or if they maybe try something different this time. Drew Shepard talking strategy with a couple of his assistant coaches right now. And Betch, he's electing to throw it deep. I think we had a couple of Alleycat fans be much more satisfied with that. Disc lands down, clock moves, which if you're the Union is the advantage for you because, well, you've got the lead. And the Union get down the field quickly and a score. It is Dan Demare from Belgium. So as he continues to make his case for Rookie of the Year, like Kelsey said, his third goal this season.
Alleycats asking for the foul call on the shove. It's interesting when talking to Coach Woods earlier, he said that one of the biggest concerns for Dan coming from the European League here is that it's way more physical in the UFA, and they weren't sure how he would adjust. But I'll say he's doing quite well and continuing to bolster his case for that Rookie of the Year.
And and as you can tell too, he's got size, he can run well. All smiles on the Chicago Union sideline right now.
And they've been making quick work on offense. If you're the Cats, you need to make some adjustments, take away some of those deep looks. I mean, you know what they're going to do. They've initiated a deep cut on like the second, third throw, almost every offensive possession. So
yeah, and break percentage is really looming large in this game. Chicago 5 out of 11 on those, and Indianapolis 0 of 6 on break chances tonight. That is not going to get it done when you're playing the team that leads the Central Division in the Chicago Union right now. Closing in on the halfway point of the second quarter. Those break chances, the Alleycats, a lot of them came early in the first quarter. That's when there was some slipping and some sliding, some field conditions playing a role. Havey trying to find some help and does. He has to really fly up the field to get that one. Good two-man game between him and Heiser. Heiser floating the other way. I think there was a miscommunication. Somebody was supposed to break out there. I don't know if it was Kemp or Carey, not sure, but somebody was. But instead, where he floated the disc to, there was no one there except Union players.
Miscommunication, and now the Union have another break opportunity. Chance to extend this lead.
Jeff Gow really does a good job of tracking that one down. Weiss looking for point number 4. No. But a good job there by the Cats on the diving effort. That was
Carson Chamberlain.
It was
with
Carson.
The effort.
Yep, good for him. Good to see him do that, the former Detroit mechanic. And that was the right play because with Weiss has gotten in the end zone several times tonight. Don't take any chances. Just get up there and knock it away if you have to.
Need to stop those breaks from Chicago for sure. Indy back with the opportunity to hold here in what's been a tight second quarter.
Contact, Jesse Johnson runs into his man, so the foul on the Union. And there's been, again, to your point, Kelsey, the physicality of the UFA, there's been quite a bit of it in this game. Not intentional, it's just how it's happened.
Both teams feel like they have a lot to prove, for sure, so laying it all on the field, and sometimes that results in some contact. Nothing dirty thus far, though, which is good.
Carey fronted well, but able to find Havey. Another foul on Johnson. Reached in and got the arm of Jason Kemp.
Yep, strip call there as Kemp stopped rotation of the disc and the Union player knocked it out of his hands after he completed the catch. Good call there.
Oof, that throw looked like it might get behind Ingham, but he holds on. Ingham and Gudeman. Did Ingham get it in? Yes, he did. Well done by Sam Ingham. His third goal of the season and his first of the night.
Nice give and go there by Ingham and Gudeman. This is Ingham's first go on the offensive line for the Alleycats, and turning out to be a good decision by Coach Drew Shepard.
For those who maybe don't know, Kelsey, at home, how do you decide who is going to be on the offensive and defensive line? How often does it change and that kind of thing?
There are a lot of different strategies a team could use, but typically your offensive line is your most efficient line with the disc. They have the most pressure. They're expected to score, if you will, in an ultimate game. So the guys that are least likely to turn it over, pretty quick, things like that. Those are some of the attributes that especially the Alleycats look for.
The pull done that time by Drew Hoppy, so Drew getting a lot more time, and the defensive pressure getting employed there by Kyden Young, who's another first-year member with Indianapolis. 2 assists and 4 goals for him so far this year. Alleycats with a chance to make up some ground here, down 4, but still a lot left to play here in the second quarter.
Cats need to establish a defensive presence. They've had almost no break opportunities in this game. Chicago has had no issue working it up the field, and there's not even a defender in sight.
Well, it looked like somebody almost knocked it down. A hand was on it. Wilson Matthews, though, able to catch it and somehow stay in bounds. Did it feel like maybe they overplayed things on the back end there? What do you think happened there, Kelsey?
They had a zone look downfield, and there was just too big of a gap on the wing there. The UFA field is massive, a lot of ground to cover, and, heroic effort by Mace Chope there at the end. He was playing in the far back, or what we call the monster. He wasn't doing anything wrong. It's just that there were gaps in the middle of the field.
Yeah.
So Cats need to communicate better.
Felt like the gaps that were in the field were way before he even had a chance at it. Mace has had a pretty good year for the Alleycats, 4 goals and a couple of blocks, almost had his third one right there. But 3:03 left in the second quarter, a game that the Union took advantage of in the first quarter, led 6-2 at the end of one. It was 6-1. Alleycats got another goal by Jason Kemp to get within 4. But they have not been able to shrink the deficit beyond 4 in this second quarter. That's because the Union have held well, and they've executed and had fewer turnovers. Alleycats now, by the way, with 8 turnovers to the Union's 5. Still 2.5 minutes to go. Alleycats trying to find something. They've had to backtrack quite a bit. Jake Reuben Miller applying some defensive pressure there. Now it's Dex Draymond trying to force Cole Heiser to make a mistake, but Heiser's played pretty well tonight. That throw, though, errant. Got a little wide of Jason Kemp. So now yet another chance for Chicago, but they can't take advantage as that one's high. Rare mistake from them.
Rare mistake is right, and that is a gift for the Alleycats to get another chance to hold here. John, we were talking about Callahan's earlier, and I was wondering if the Union were going to have a play at one on that last possession.
Yeah.
Did such a good job backing up the Alleycats far back in their own end zone.
That was dangerous, that throw, but Cats come down with it. And Carey able to get it out of the zone, and I think the threat of Callahan, at least on this possession, is over. But that doesn't mean Chicago can't force the turnover at any time. They have been doing that quite a bit today. Nearly some contact there, but Sam Ingham able to catch it and move the disc up. He and Kemp playing a nice game together. Chamberlain looking around. Now Kemp again with a minute to go in the second. Some folks on the Alleycat sideline calling for movement. Can they get enough of it here?
And there has not been much movement downfield from this vert stack. Cats are working it up completely with their handlers. Now we've got a double cut.
And it's caught. Seth Gudeman. If there's been a spark in this second quarter, there's been more than one, but Seth has been the one that's provided most of it. He scored to make it 7-3, and he has 4 goals alone in this period. He's kept the Alleycats within striking distance.
20 goals on the year for Mr. Gudeman, and capped off what was a pretty sloppy point there offensively for the Cats, but they get it done. This quarter is even, 5-5 in the second quarter. So Alleycats have made some adjustments, but now they need to turn their focus to defense. The zone that they've been throwing these last few looks hasn't been working out for them. They were more of a person look earlier, though. That wasn't working out either, so gonna have to figure something out quickly.
Also, no Huck conversions for the Alleycats tonight. Their D line has not converted one time. Chicago is 5 out of 10 on their D line conversions. 30 seconds to go. Man gets loose down the field. Dan DeMarte trying to chase it. I think he's got it. Wow, can that man fly? It looked like he ran from Belgium through the United States and all the way into the end zone right there. That's how much ground it felt like he covered.
I thought you were going to ask, can that man be stopped? Because thus far, no, he cannot.
I'm honestly shocked he didn't pull a Bo Jackson and keep running into the tunnel. He has so much speed.
And you can see no Cat defender anywhere in sight.
But that's been kind of the story of the second quarter. The Cats have, like you said, Kelsey, they've played stride for stride with the Union in this period, but every time that would have been the optimal time to get a stop, break chance, score, cut it to 3. Now instead it's 5 again.
The Union are just doing a fantastic job looking at what the Alleycats are throwing at them defensively and adjusting accordingly. I mean, the last couple defensive points, they were in that zone, had the monster downfield to prevent a huge huck like that. They changed their look last point to person. That opens up the deep space, and, well, you saw what happened there.
Yeah, and for Huck conversions, Chicago is 6 of 8 on Huck conversions in this game. No Huck conversions for Indianapolis. Ten seconds left. Going for the end zone is Kaiden Young, and he finds it. Jason Kemp, who started the game for the Alleycats with their first goal, or they say no. Okay, he was out. All right, looked like he might be in. Apparently he was too far out of the end zone. They do not count it. So tough break for Indy. Basically all it is 1 second now for Chicago. Basically it's just all you really have time for here is one heave toward the end zone and see if you can get a tip or something.
And time out from Chicago.
Okay.
They're going to talk this over.
What do you talk over with 1 second left here when you have the disc this far back?
Well, you don't really have time to reset it to another handler who might have a more open throw. So I can only imagine the Alleycats are going to set a double team here, make it really hard to get off a huck. Maybe you throw a Blady hammer over the top, but it's not going to make it to the end zone.
And I think if you're the Union, you're thinking, just go ahead and try something. You know, you might as well use a timeout, not like it carries over into the second half.
Might as well. See if they can extend it before they have to pull to Indianapolis to start the third.
They did put 1 second back on the clock, so instead of 1 second left, there's 2.
All right, might have a chance to get it to the off handler now, which Xavier Payne is back there. If anybody can throw the length of the field, it's Payne or Pavel Giannis, one of those two. So there's that double team that I talked about, John. No surprise that the Alleycats are going to stop the immediate huck from Pavel.
They're trying to smother him. Payne, 2-1, and he just says, let it play out. So that does it for the first half. A rough first quarter for Indianapolis, a better second quarter, with the Chicago Union coming in showing exactly why they are undefeated and leading the Central Division. Alleycats have work to do, but plenty of ultimate action still to come in the second half. Kelsey and I will have second half action for you later on here on WatchUFA.tv.
We're Carp Homes. Let us take the pain out of selling your home. We pay cash for your house as is. You don't touch a thing. Leave all repairs and cleanup to us. Homegrown right here in Indy. We're local and reputable, and we care about our city and neighbors. Our team comes to meet with you in person to evaluate your property, resulting in getting you the best possible offer. Call Carp Homes today or visit our website to learn more.
Welcome to Googman House, a locally owned, award-winning, and family-friendly microbrewery and coffee house located just northwest of downtown Indy. With over 20 delicious beers brewed on site, from hazy IPAs and fruited sours to the best-selling Guggenweizen and Hefeweizen and Riverside Hazy IPA. Pick your own flight of beers, order your grub from the cabin kitchen, and enjoy a day in the beer garden. We invite you to experience Googman House. Learn more at GoogmanHouseBrewing.com and follow along on Instagram at Googman House Brewing.
Fifteen new players on the team this year. That's shaping probably something new. You didn't know what to expect with this chemistry. How are you feeling about that chemistry?
As far as chemistry, when you've got this much of a group that's unfamiliar with one another, you have to lean into what I would coin artificial chemistry. So traditional chemistry is, hey, you and I have known each other and played together for a decade. Artificial chemistry, I believe, can still be valuable, but that looks more like we are going to be fairly rigid at the beginning about our system and where we go and when I can expect you to be there, because that's going to breed confidence. If I know for sure where you're going to be, that breeds confidence in me, and that can generate what we call artificial chemistry. Hopefully what that builds is a natural chemistry, which can evolve from that. But we've got to lean into what we have right now, which is discipline and system, and hope that kind of takes root and germinates some kind of real chemistry.
Maybe talk about natural grass over turf.
I personally love playing in natural grass over turf. When you lay out on natural grass, a lot of times you stand up feeling just fine. On turf, it feels like anytime I lay out, I'm picking up little nicky-nack injuries, whether it's a turf burn or a sprain or an ache or a bruise or something. So personally, I love natural grass, love the way it feels under the cleats. I think you can expect to see, especially at like a well-maintained field like Kuntz, you won't see any difference in performance that sometimes can be brought about by natural grass versus turf. I think that all you're gonna see is players more willing to lay out, players more willing to take chances on discs because they know there's a softer cushion when they land.
Disc in your life, like what was it attracted you to that piece of plastic?
Well, first I learned to throw at camp. I learned to throw at camp up in Michigan. And then I started playing my freshman year at College of Charleston, and I think it was the people. My team name, it was the College of Charleston Bums. We're the Charleston Bums, and I just embodied that bum energy, you know. We were we were just goofy kids. We were just goofy kids having fun, and that really I came to a school where I didn't know a single person, found these Frisbee guys, and I was like, I think that these are going to be my best friends. And then moved to Louisville and got involved with a club team, and I knew some of those guys played pro and didn't really know about it, and that's how I ended up meeting the Alleycats through some Louisville folks that play, and yeah, found the team that way.
Did you know, like, man, I'm really good at this. I think I could go take the next level and pick up this club or against pro or because whatever. You know, when did that happen for you?
Yeah, I was never great at throwing to begin with. It was weird for me. Like I said, I played baseball, so switching the arm movement instead of up high going down to the side was a little weird. But I was a pretty good athlete in high school, and I had this big dude, the Serbian guy in high school, who had played in Serbia before he came to my high school. And he picked me freshman year. He was like, oh, I like this kid because I could catch. And he knew that when it came down to it, he could just send it out there, I'll go get it. And so that's when I was like, all right, pretty good. I became captain. I was like, all right, I want to do this in college. And then in college, I was like, I could maybe play pro here. I want to try to do it. And eventually made it happen. And so here we are, 4 years later now.
What's the difference between playing indoors, outdoors, and how does that affect the team?
Yeah, obviously weather will play a big factor between when it comes to outdoors versus indoors, but I'm excited for that for us, really. I think it gives our defense opportunity, obviously, to let the conditions play and shows the skilled offensive guys to make plays despite the weather. So I'm really excited for Kuntz, really. I've heard from the guys that have played there how exciting that place is, how it's close to a lot of our fans. I'm really hoping to have a packed house and a great energy at our games.
Why did you stay with Ultimate, though? Of all the other sports to play, why Ultimate?
Well, on my freshman year coming in, I knew how to throw. So a lot of the players that were rookies didn't have the forehand throw, and I was kind of good at it. I was kind of like good at Frisbee, and I was like, I've never been good at soccer or basketball, and was okay at lacrosse, and it was the first sport where I really actually enjoyed playing it so much and kind of succeeded at it, kind of played well, actually.
Can you talk about the offensive system a little bit?
Yeah. So, this year we're going to be, I think, much more of an aggressive style offense. We're going to be willing and looking to move the disc vertically downfield more. So you should expect to see some bigger shots and fast pace though. So we're going to be moving quickly, and I think it really plays well into the skill set of the guys that are on the team this year. So it'll highlight what we're good at, and should make it fun for the fans too.
Wildcats. Why do you want to play pro?
Yeah. In the club season, as a member of leadership, a lot of my effort and energy goes into, mentoring young guys, developing strategies for the team as a whole. So my time with the Alleycats, I get to lock in on me a little bit more, focus on my own development as a player, and it's just fun. I mean, playing in front of fans is not something that you get to do in club, so getting to do that is a big part of it as well.
What's the best part of your game?
I've always been a defensive player. I think, like I said, my speed, athleticism really helped me out with that stuff, and I'd really like to bring that onto the offensive side. I think that the same reasons I'm good at defense could be helpful on the offensive side, and I'm looking forward to improve my disc skills and really bring it up to the next level because I think I could be pretty deadly on that side too.
We're Carp Homes. Let us take the pain out of selling your home. We pay cash for your house as is. You don't touch a thing. Leave all repairs and cleanup to us. Homegrown right here in Indy, we're local and reputable, and we care about our city and neighbors. Our team comes to meet with you in person to evaluate your property, resulting in getting you the best possible offer. Call Carp Homes today or visit our website to learn more.
Welcome to Googman House, a locally owned, award-winning, and family-friendly microbrewery and coffee house located just northwest of downtown Indy. With over 20 delicious beers brewed on site, from hazy IPAs and fruited sours to the best-selling Guggenweizen and Hefeweizen and Riverside Hazy IPA. Pick your own flight of beers, order your grub from the cabin kitchen, and enjoy a day in the beer garden. We invite you to experience Googman House. Learn more at GoogmanHouseBrewing.com and follow along on Instagram at Googman House Brewing.
We return to Coon Stadium at halftime here. 12-7, the Chicago Union with the lead over the Indianapolis Alleycats, along with Kelsey Sparks. I'm John Herrick. Great to be with you on this Saturday night for some ultimate Frisbee action. And Kelsey, looking at the first half stats, it's really one of those things where it's sometimes the stats don't tell all the story, but in this case, I think they tell the entire story. O-line conversion heavily in favor of Chicago. Both teams completing it at 94%, which didn't look like that would happen early on with the way the Alleycats were having some issues with the field conditions, but they settled down there. Early in the season, I think you and I were talking about how the Cats needed to have red zone conversions at a higher rate. Well, they're only 6 of 12 in the red zone, and Chicago is 7 of 9. So basically, as soon as Chicago's getting it down in the red zone, they're almost scoring every time, it feels like.
Chicago has been extremely efficient on offense, and, you know, I wish we were keeping track of the time of possession for both teams, because Chicago's time of possession has been so short. They've just been so efficient. So just making quick work of those possessions, working it up the field, and, yeah, not surprised that the numbers back it up on the red zone conversion percentage.
I also can't recall a time where I've seen the huck percentage so overwhelmingly in one team's favor. I mean, now I know the Cats are trying to be more patient. They're not trying to force it, so that's why they've only attempted one huck. But to see the Union at 6 of 8 in that category is a little surprising.
Yeah, I don't dislike the lack of hucks from Indianapolis. I like the smart Frisbee on their part, but Chicago has done such a great job of understanding the defensive looks that the Cats are throwing at them. And a lot of those hucks have come in person defense, where they just send one of their quickest guys down the field and nobody can guard him.
Well, let's look at some of the first half highlights. And it's, Chicago came in scoring 19 a game, and they've already got 12. So they're on pace for 24. And some of these plays we're about to show you are some of the hucks. Nice catch there by Jeff Gow he made. There's Andrew Sjogren, who seems to always seem to be a Chicago Union mainstay. Jesse Johnson got in the mix. Heiser was able to have a nice two-man game going there with Jason Kemp. I know, Tim Held, one of the owners of the Alleycats, came up here and talked to us at halftime. Kemp and Gudeman are guys he really likes. And it's not that the Alleycats, as you see from some of these highlights, didn't do certain things well. They did. It's just the first quarter, they got off to such a slow start.
First quarter killed the Alleycats early on. I mean, Union outscoring them 6-2, and they barely got in that second score from Jason Kemp with just a few seconds left. Quarter two looked a lot better, though. Union scoring 6, Alleycats scoring 5. So they have made some adjustments, and things are going better, but a lot of work to do to claw back some of these breaks that they gave up early on in the first.
When you look at that, to let people understand a little bit better what that is, how do you execute break opportunities when you get them? Because sometimes they can be frenetic, sometimes it's more slow. How do you find a way to capitalize on break chances?
Well, first, just to explain what a break opportunity is. So one team starts by, throwing the disc to the other team on that pull. So that team's on defense. The team that catches it is on offense. So offense is expected to score. That is your job. If you turn the disc over, the defense picks it up, and that is when it's a break opportunity. So defense, just having your offensive plan in place for when you get the turnover, being able to execute it quickly. The Union have been doing that tonight. They've been Xavier Payne, our player to watch for the Union, has done a great job quarterbacking that defensive line. As soon as they get the disc, put in a lot of quick scores and breaks for the Union.
And 4 goals for Seth Gudeman, all in the second quarter. But The Chicago Union did a good job holding him in check, as you saw a little bit of the Indianapolis skyline. It feels like a city that's always under construction right now, but lots of exciting things happening in Indianapolis. Of course, the Indiana Fever have been fantastic. They got a win today with Caitlin Clark coming back from injury. All smiles on the Chicago Union. Of course, the Indiana Pacers in the NBA Finals. And Alleycats busy. It's and I was just talking to a few of my friends at the radio station that I work for. Feels like there was something for everybody to do this weekend, whether you're a sports person or not. Indianapolis is definitely a happening place. I know the Chicago landscape is also busy, but really good to see this city grow and see a lot of the Alleycat fans come out and enjoy things. So the Alleycats get the disc to start the third quarter. I don't think the emphasis of this first point can be discussed enough. Indianapolis really needs to get a score and start to get some break chances and some opportunities here. And the Union know that, so as you can tell, they're coming out and playing aggressive defense. Did they do something, do you think, Kelsey, in the first quarter against Seth Goodeman that, was it specific, or was it just, other guys maybe not noticing him, or what was it?
The Union playing defense, I think that when you're playing Indianapolis, Seth is the guy to watch. I mean, we choose players to highlight before every game, but when you have somebody leading the team in almost every category, if you shut him down, you probably win the game. So I imagine that the Chicago coach has touched on that before the game.
He did a pretty good job neutralizing him, and he always seems to have at least one guy around him all the time. Cats taking their time here. Again, they're just not a team that's going to huck it very much, so this is the way they need to do it. They've been patient. The field conditions have eased up. Things have been a lot better since the first quarter. Kemp's got it. And there was Heiser with it, but everything was going well for the Alleycats, and then they crossed midfield, and then their wires got crossed, and now the Union have a break chance.
I liked the patient offense there from the Alleycats. Unfortunately, Chicago able to get the D there, and now their first break opportunity of the second half.
And that's been a very good thing for them. Break chances. They have certainly converted more than Indianapolis, 5 out of 14. Now, that's not a great number percentage-wise, but when the team you're playing against is 0 for 8 in break chances and you've converted 5, that is a big difference. Ray Montel lofts it up, and the Cats able to come up with a big defensive stand there. Now can they take advantage? Havey, slides down to get it. Jack Havey's made some tough plays near the sideline to make some completions when the Cats have needed it to preserve the possession. Kemp needs help, finds Havey. Carey lunges out and grabs it. Alleycat Nation feeling a little bit better about the start of this second half. Kemp to Goodeman. He's getting closer to the end zone. Can he find somebody? Well, Chamberlain tried to make himself available for a moment. Red zone defense for Chicago has been solid tonight. Cats trying to infiltrate it here. Heiser lofting, able to get it to Ingham, and Ingham gets it across. Jason Kemp, he started the game with the Alleycats' first score. This time he has the first second half score for Indy.
Great offensive movement there by the Cats. I liked the patience. We get to see that diving grab again from Joey Carey. Joey has done a great job kind of quarterbacking this O-line at points tonight.
And that's the first break conversion that the Cats have had go their way. And Kemp has had himself a night, as you can tell there. 127 throwing yards, 71 receiving yards, his third goal. He's battled through a lot to get on the field, so that's good to see.
It's one of the young faces that the Alleycats organization is most excited about. Kemp's been stepping up quite a bit, more and more every week. He has really improved his disc skills since last season as well, so love seeing him be able to make some throws that he didn't last year. See a ton of growth, and the sky's the limit for Jason Kemp.
See if the Alleycat defense can come up with a stop. Some contact downfield. Oh, what a play made there by Wilson Matthews as he holds off Ryan Wartenberg, who almost made an incredible defensive play. But the Cat defense does get back. They stand tall in the red zone, and they force the Union to retreat a little bit. All Arders as the Alleycat defensive chant comes across, but they just cannot hold. And yet again, it is Jeff Weiss who has been terrific. He was the one who kept the pressure on, got the first couple goals of the second quarter after having one in the first, so that is his 4th goal of the night.
I like the energy that we were seeing from Indianapolis on that last possession. It looks like there's new life to their D-line, which is good news considering they have 5 breaks to make up.
And here's the other thing too, even if you don't win this game, you need to build something positive and feel good about something going into next week, because you got a big week. Next week you're at Minnesota, and the week after that is even bigger than next week, because at the end of June you got 2 games. You got on June 27th, you're at Chicago, and then on the 28th you are back here to play Madison, which is always a big home game, of course, big rivalry game. And then you're on the road to play Madison the following week. So the schedule does not get a whole lot easier for these Alleycats. We've played a few minutes so far in the third quarter. Both teams have scored once. Cats still with ground to make up after that tough first quarter set them back. Noah Wall in the game, by the way, 3rd season with the Cats. He has 4 assists and a couple of goals. Wall comes back to get it. He is shadowed well by Jake Reuben Miller. That's got to be a foul in Chicago, and it is. Ray Montel knew it right away. He knew that he shouldn't have made contact with Chamberlain, just ran right into him. Big opportunity for Indy as they move the disc up. Well, there was some contact there, away from the disc. Okay, now they're just saying, hey, you can go now.
Looks like the contact was before the whistle.
And a nice hammer throw to the end zone, and Sam Ingham gets open. All right, Cats back within 4. Kempe had the first goal of the second half, and the second one goes to Sam Ingham.
Alleycats, who have struggled in the red zone this season, deliver 2 consecutive red zone scores. Looking much better to start this second half.
That's Ingham's second goal of the night. He had 1 in the second quarter. Another one here in the third. Yep, Alleycat Nation waving that green and white checkered flag, feeling a lot better. But they have not been closer than 4 since the first quarter. So yet again, opportunity to execute the pull, get back on defense, force a break chance, and lessen the deficit even more. See if they can do that. Kaiden Young is conducting the pull for Indianapolis in his first year with the organization. Now, both teams, remember the second quarter, another thing that was weird about that was how both teams went with the rolling pull. And we haven't seen that.
Just a 1-quarter special.
It really was. It wasn't working out well for either team, it felt like. Another Huck try, and there is the speed of the man from Belgium yet again. Dan Demare. I mean, when it looks like there's no way he could catch up to the disc, he finds a way.
3rd goal on the night for Demare. You can see why there's so much hype surrounding him. And it's really hard to play defense against a team like this, because when you go for the person one-on-one matchup there's nobody that can guard him.
Mm-hmm.
When you go for the zone, the Union have been really good about just working it up the field, finding the gaps in the zone. So not sure what to do if you're the Alleycats. Union have an answer for everything thus far.
You know what that reminded me of, this play? There was a Super Bowl, I think it was 2009, between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Arizona Cardinals. And there was a play where Larry Fitzgerald caught a pass and ran just right through the middle of the defense and scored a touchdown, and no one was catching him. That's what that looked like. It looked like Damari was running right through the middle of the Cat defense, and it didn't matter how fast they were running, they were not catching up to him.
And that's not even his first score of the night that's looked that way.
No. And I think all of them have looked that way. So, Alleycats in some Callahan danger territory here. Joey Carey needs some help. Knocked away. So we've seen Jeff Weiss do it a lot on offense. That time his defense help plays a role. They get in, yes.
Weiss was sniffing the Callahan there. Didn't quite get it, but he did get a finger on the disc, cause that turnover, and the Union capitalized quickly.
So yet again, you got it to 4. You had a chance to get it to 3. Unable to capitalize. There's Pavlianis, of course, with the disc first, and he's the one who lofts it in for the Union score. And there's Weiss. Yep, so Weiss helps make the defensive play and then helps the offense convert. This is this is one of the best Chicago Union teams I think I've seen in a long time.
This might be the best Chicago Union team that we've ever seen. Lots of UFA action left in this 2025 season. Remains to be seen how history will tell this story when it's all said and done, but these guys definitely have an opportunity to be counted among the best, not just for Chicago, but UFA-wide. And the Alleycats drop the pull, so the Union will pick it up on offense on the goal line here.
That's really disheartening. But then the Union can't get it across either.
That's a gift for Indianapolis. Not characteristic of the Union to not capitalize on an opportunity like that on the goal line. So now we get to see the offensive possession from Indy.
Chamberlain has to really climb the ladder to get that. And there's another foul on Chicago. Ray Montel, he can be, well, he's aggressive on defense, but there's only a certain level of aggression they're going to allow you to have without calling the foul. Low throw, but a nice job by Joey Carey to dig it out. Joey going deep, looking the end zone. Couple of guys there, fight for it. Tipped up, and I think the Cats have it. They are saying they do. Sam Ingham, when it looked like it might go down on the deflection, Ingham comes up with it. What a play by Sam Ingham.
John, I'm not sure how he was able to keep his hand under that disc. Truly unbelievable play right there, and I'm excited to see this one again. And it bounces up. He says his hand is what it bounced off of.
Everybody's looking at the Jumbotron here to see another look at it. Yeah, see it. I don't think it hit the ground. I think he was able to keep it alive and then reached out and grabbed it. That was an incredible play by Sam Ingham.
His second of the night, and he's got 4 assists to go along with it. He's having himself a day.
And that even drew some applause from the Chicago Union fans that have made the trip here to Indianapolis. All right, the pull taken down by the Union. And now with it, Henry Goldenberg. Goldenberg in his second year with Chicago. There's the defense chant by the Cat fans, hoping they can come up here. Nate Goff had it near the sideline. Out there for Indianapolis right now, you've got Robbie Davenport, and that disc floats down for a turnover for Chicago. Davenport picks it up.
Rare break opportunity here for Indianapolis, and they desperately need to capitalize.
And that is exactly why Drew Shepard is calling timeout. Thinks he wants to get the right lineup in there. So the Cats use their first timeout of the second half to get the lineup they need back on the field.
I like that timeout call from Shep. Look for the Alleycats O-line to come back onto the field. That's exactly who's huddling up around assistant coach Nathan Busberg.
And what do you think Coach Busberg is going over with the players right now, Kelsey?
Probably looking at a set play here. Not sure if we're going to go back to that vert look they had earlier. The vert look was a little bit stagnant downfield for the Alleycats. I liked their flow in their horizontal stack better. So we'll see how they choose to initiate, but they definitely need to make quicker cuts. More movement downfield will get them in the end zone.
For those who don't know, what is a vert look?
A vertical stack is when you have 2 handlers in the backfield and the other 5 players are set up in a row downfield in like a vertical line, a vertical stack.
Got it. So Seth Goodeman goes back out there for Indianapolis. So does Cole Heiser, Joey Carey, Sam Ingham. Yeah, you better have Ingham in there after the play he made. Carson Chamberlain, the former Detroit mechanic, who has really come on well since the first quarter. Cats down but not out. They've never led in this game. Chicago got off to a 4-0 lead, and they've held it ever since. All right, Goodeman tries to initiate things. Jason Kemp now with it. He's got Jake Reuben Miller all over him. Goes back opposite way. Lunging opportunity by Dex Dremmond, but he can't get there. Cats making some good work of this. Havey. Shadowed well. Carry to Ingham.
And we're still seeing most of this vert stack initiating out of the handler space. Not a ton of viable cuts downfield.
Kemp. He's not far from the end zone. He needs help, though. Reuben Miller's harassing him. Stall count increasing, and the throw is off target and batted away. The disc goes back to the Union.
And just like that, break opportunity's over, and the Union get another chance to hold here. Cats have not had many opportunities like that.
What do you think went wrong on that one?
Stall count got too high for Kemp there on the corner. He didn't have help. There weren't cuts coming from the stack, and the handler set painted themselves into that corner and could only run it so much with just those 3 handlers.
And Dex Dremmond and realized he had nowhere to go with it. His coach Dave Woods certainly saw there was nowhere to go with it. So the Union call a timeout. They will make some substitutions here.
And we're probably going back to the line that started the point. So now the Union O-line back on the field and the Cats D-line. We are right back where we started.
Yeah, I know.
I think this is what seems like the most delicate, important stage of the game right now, where either the Cats make a move and get within striking distance before the fourth quarter, or the Union create more separation. That's just where we are, it seems like. And again, like the second quarter, we've been all even here in the third. In the second quarter, we were even pretty much the whole way. In the third quarter, we are even again. Both teams have scored 3 goals. It's the first quarter that loomed large in this one. That's when the Union got out to that 6-2 advantage and have put the Cats behind the 8 ball. Henry Goldenberg looking around. Up the field. Again, if you're the Union, you don't need to be in a super big hurry, but Dan DeMare is out there, so you definitely need to watch him. Union making very quick work of this possession, getting downfield. Alleycats trying to respond. Now the Sea of Green gets back. Paul Arders, middle of the field, and the Union get it across. It's almost like when they have that as Wilson Matthews gets into the end zone yet again for Chicago. It's like when they start having that up the field play and catch, they don't even really have to move very much. It just feels like that's the rhythm and pace that they want.
Alleycats have not been able to find an answer for that. The Union, yeah, great offensive possession from them. A lot of give and goes up the field, working it into the end zone. Great defensive effort there from Jake Wall trying to get that layout D, but to no avail.
Well, again, the Cats came in out of all UFA teams ranked 22nd out of 24. The Union ranked 2nd in the entire league. So you knew who the favorite was coming in. The Union at 3-0, the Cats at 2-3 with their 2 wins against Detroit. Cats had an opportunity for a big upset. Oh no, that one bounces through.
And since that touched Cole Heiser, Alleycats are going to have to take it in the back of their end zone.
Yep. That's another thing that you don't normally see from the Alleycats.
No, that's 2 big mistakes off the pull tonight. Need to clean that up.
The pull's usually not been the issue. It's been the offense and at times the defense on the back end. But the pull's usually been one area that's been fine. But Cats almost had a point for Chicago off of a misplayed pull, but it luckily didn't happen that way. Carey, middle of the field, looking for help. He's got Pavlianis right on him. Now Havey. Well, at least one thing we'll have to look back on tonight was that Ingham play, but Alleycats can't convert. As the disc is turned over, Union get it back, and for Indianapolis, that is turnover number 15. They had 9 in the first half and 6 here in the third quarter.
Just a miscommunication there on offense as Ingham was going to clear the handler space, but disc came his way anyway. Union another break opportunity. And again, this is a team that is 2nd in the league in break percentage at almost 40%.
Van Dusen comes down to get it near the Alleycat bench. Now Pavlianis has it. Good matchup here between him and Gudeman. Gudeman's trying to play defense, and that disc is dropped. Jesse Johnson unable to hang on to it, so now the Alleycats with a chance. But time is winding down here in the third quarter. Seth Gudeman, who had a huge scoring threat in the third quarter. Looks like
and he looks like a stall call on Gudeman. Didn't get it off in that 7 seconds. So the clock stops until Xavier Payne taps it in for the Union.
And that's the first time in a long time we've seen a stall count turnover on Indianapolis. Leads to a Union score. Mylan Rivas this time. Rivas with his first score of the night. And wow, this is, like I said, you had it at 15-10. So, you're thinking, okay, you make a couple plays here and there, you force a turnover yourself, maybe get it within 3 going into the fourth. But instead, this is the Union bumping it up to 7, which is the largest lead they've had tonight. They've had 7 blocks to Indianapolis's 4. Huck percentage has played a large part in this game. They're 8 out of 10 on Huck percentage. That's 80%. Indianapolis 1 of 2. Hold percentage, huge advantage for Chicago. They're 10 of 11 to Indianapolis's 10 of 18. And O-line conversion, that's obviously all Union, 10 of 12 to Indianapolis's 10 of 23. And the Cats have not gotten one break chance to go their way. They are 0 of 11 on break percentage, and Chicago is 6 of 18, which is 33%. So those are just some of the statistics that tell you exactly how dominant the Union have been in this one. Cats trying to make something happen before the end of the third quarter. Down to 7. Hoppy's got it. Betch going towards the end zone. Might be a tough play for Davenport. Tipped up, and he almost had it. Nice defensive play by Dex Drummond to end the third period as the Chicago Union put their exclamation point on that one. They bumped their lead up to 7 over the Indianapolis Alleycats. Going to the fourth quarter here from Kuntz Stadium. You're watching Ultimate Action on WatchUFA.tv.
We're Carp Homes. Let us take the pain out of selling your home. We pay cash for your house as is. You don't touch a thing. Leave all repairs and cleanup to us. Homegrown right here in Indy. We're local and reputable, and we care about our city and neighbors. Our team comes to meet with you in person to evaluate your property, resulting in getting you the best possible offer. Call Carp Homes today or visit our website to learn more.
Welcome to Googman House, a locally owned, award-winning, and family-friendly microbrewery and coffee house located just northwest of downtown Indy. With over 20 delicious beers brewed on site, from hazy IPAs and fruited sours to the best-selling Guggenweizen and Hefeweizen and Riverside Hazy IPA. Pick your own flight of beers, order your grub from the cabin kitchen, and enjoy a day in the beer garden. We invite you to experience Googman House. Learn more at GoogmanHouseBrewing.com and follow along on Instagram at Googman House Brewing.
Well, the Alleycats made a run. They got it to within 5, but then the Chicago Union able to extend that lead out to 7 before the end of the fourth quarter from Kuntz Stadium in Indianapolis. I'm John Herrick along with Kelsey Sparks, looking at the stats to this point, which, as you can probably imagine, heavily in favor of the Chicago Union. I think it's interesting, Kelsey, that it's 17-10 advantage Chicago when Indianapolis has 17 turnovers to 10 Chicago turnovers. That kind of tells a lot of the story here.
It's not often that those numbers are directly reversed, but hey, I think those numbers tell a pretty good story of what we've seen thus far tonight. Lots to clean up on offense from the Alleycats, and the Union have just played a phenomenal offensive game, hardly given the Cats any opportunities to break. Union have had an answer for every defensive look that the Cats have thrown their way.
And also, too, keep in mind, they were 6 of 8. The Union were on Huck conversion opportunities, and they are now 8 of 10. So they have only done that twice, but they are 2 out of 2 on Huck conversions in this second half. Indiana just 1 of 2 in that regard. So,
well, a big reason for those Hucks is the man that was just on the screen a moment ago. Dan DeMarie from the European League has been so hard to guard in that deep space.
Yes, he has. Speed, especially in the middle of the field, has been something to marvel at for sure. Union, of course, with this performance, if this holds, they would stay atop the Central Division. Alleycats came in big need of a victory to move up in the division standings, but Chicago has held them at bay. Jeff Weiss has the disc, and what a night he's had. Throw up the field, and a nice pursuit. Nate Goff with the Chicago score.
Goff with 5 assists tonight, been a great distributor of the disc, and that's his first goal with his catching ability. So Union made pretty quick work of that offensive possession as well.
Yep, took them less than 40 seconds.
So Alleycats still have not found a defensive plan that works against that Union O-line. Meanwhile, the Union have been playing some smothering defense and really making the Alleycats work for it.
You've talked about the Alleycats playing person defense, sometimes zone. Have to catch people up. Have the Chicago Union been doing a mixture, or have they stuck primarily with person defense?
Primarily with person. I mean, there's not really a reason to change it. It's been working great. I mean, they have 7 breaks against the Cats, so this is just a very fast, athletic team, so they are able to cover the Alleycats person to person.
Seth Goodeman, there's a guy who has not gotten in the end zone in the second half, which is a little bit surprising considering how much he exploded in the third quarter. Miscommunication there. Kemp, I think, thought he had a guy up the field, and as soon as he threw it, he knew right away something wasn't right.
Union with another break opportunity, and there's the player to watch for the Union who just passed it away, Xavier Payne, former Alleycat captain, making his first return to Indianapolis since switching jerseys. Looking like it's going to be a triumphant return, and he adds another assist there.
That's the first time Ray Montel has scored. I think that's his first goal this season as a Chicago Union player. He had 3 goals and 5 blocks last season, and Montel, got to feel great about that because he's had a couple of calls go against him where he's committed fouls, but Montel, wow. First time he has a chance to get open and make a play there. Well, remember that play by Sam Ingham in the third quarter really gave the Alleycats a lift. The disc was tipped off it looked like off of his body, and he kept it in play. That got the Alleycat fans back into it. It was a 15-10 lead for Chicago at that point.
And speaking of Ingham, I mean, he has 4 assists and 2 goals on the night. The Cats have 10 scores,
yeah.
So Sam has played a role in more than half.
Right. Betch up the field, and there's the throw. This might be a Huck conversion try, almost. It was knocked away from Wall. Played very well defensively by Dex Dremen.
And I like that throw from Robbie Davenport. I think that was perfectly thrown. Jake Wall just misread it a little bit downfield. So now the Union with another break chance. Opportunity to go up by 10.
Since this was been a big story in this one, Kelsey, with the Huck percentage being so heavily in Chicago's favor, what can the Alleycats do in future games to try to get the Hucks going a little bit? I know they don't want to take on a lot of unnecessary chances as the Union score yet again, but if you are Indianapolis, how do you turn that around as Jake Reuben Miller tap dances in for the score?
I just don't think that the Alleycats have done a good job in the cutting space today. I mean, on a lot of the successful offensive possessions, we've seen the handlers work it up the field most of the time. So the Alleycats cutters need to be a little bit more active. They need to clean up their downfield stack a little bit. And when you're cutting correctly and you're making hard, quick, decisive cuts, you're opening up the field for your teammates even if you don't get it. And that's going to open up opportunities for Hucks, whether or not they want to force them.
And that's 5 unanswered goals now for Chicago. It was 15-10. In the blink of an eye, it is 20-10. The last time the Alleycats scored was on that Sam Ingham incredible play in the third quarter. But since then, Cats have been held in check. You just look at the way the Union are chatting with each other right now. Pavlianis talking things up. It's almost like they're not satisfied. They want more. Rolling pull conducted by Pavlianis.
Well, they want to continue to be the best version of the Union that they can be. And, you know, they have a tough schedule coming up. If they want to compete for the championship, they're going to have some tough competition. So need to take advantage of all the reps that you can and play your game, even if you're up by 10.
Ingham to the end zone, looking, and well done. The Cats needed it, and they got it. Jason Kemp, he's been a bright spot tonight for Indianapolis. He slides in for that.
4th goal for Jason tonight, and between him and Sam Ingham, those are a couple really bright spots for the Cats.
What do you think, Kelsey, are ways that Indianapolis can take those, the bright spots that they have shown, and build upon them? How do they do that in the coming games?
More and more reps. You know, this is a really young team. We've had quite the storyline this year with so many of the veteran Alleycats retiring. I mean, there's big shoes to fill, and a lot of young guys here that just need a little more experience, need more reps. So digging out those reps, even in games like this that aren't so close, it's still going to pay dividends for the future.
The pole. Henry Goldenberg comes down with it. Really good defense there by Mace Chope. He's another young face who's made some nice plays for Indianapolis. Michael Ames came up with some nice D there. Goff had it, got it in. Chicago scores yet again. It is Mr. Weiss, and I think he's holding up his hand with the number 5, and I think I know why. That would be, I believe that is his 5th goal this evening. What a job that he has done. He came in on the evening with 3 goals on the season, and he has 5 total.
Breakout game for Weiss, no question about that. So all smiles from him.
He got a couple of the goals in the second quarter, and it was at the end of the first quarter where he got his first one. That was when that made it 6-1 Chicago. And then he, right when the Cats were starting to make a move to try to get back into it in the second quarter, Weiss got a couple more and helped create some distance.
There's more of that work from the Alleycats handlers, keeping this possession moving.
Lunging grab, boy. Jake Reuben Miller's acting like, you know, it's a 1-score game, and Carey just cannot hang on. That throw by Havey was a little bit off the mark. You hope Carey's all right. I know Carey's been battling some injuries over the last couple of years. It looked like he just asked to come out of the game.
Yeah, Carey hit the ground hard on that attempted grab. Heroic attempt there. Did everything he could, but just too far away from him. So looks like he's just got the wind knocked out of him. Hopefully he's all right.
7.5 minutes to go. I think a lot of what you're seeing here has to do with the way Dave Woods likes to coach for Chicago, like you were talking about, Kelsey, during the broadcast earlier. He doesn't want them to think that they have arrived yet, because he does not, like, hey, they haven't. Johnson, and he's called for traveling. Yeah, Jesse Johnson, he wasn't quite in the end zone yet, so he can't just walk across, and then he traveled with it, so he has to back up. Less than 7 minutes to go. Chicago trying to build on this. Throw. And they got another one. They just keep coming at you.
Very, very efficient offense from the Union. They don't turn it over very often. This is a very fast, very athletic team. They almost always have somebody open, and they've done a good job at choosing the correct shots to take.
20 turnovers now for Indianapolis, and for a red zone percentage, Chicago is now 12 out of 16. So 75%, while the Alleycats are just 8 out of 15, which is 53%. That is one of the things that Coach Drew Shepard told us earlier in the season, that they wanted to get better. They wanted to turn this their red zone offense around, because They struggled out of the gate in the first couple of games with that. Looked like they had things shored up a little bit better with the red zone offense once they played Detroit. And you probably heard the collective groan there from Alleycat Nation.
That's tough. That's tough to have that reset throw get so far away from you. Union with a really short field on another break opportunity.
Weiss. This time he delivers it towards the end zone, and it's a goal for, it's like Jeff Gow. Yep, Gow with another goal tonight.
You know, like I mentioned coming out of halftime, John, I'd love to know time of possession for the Union here. I mean, that number is so small because they've been so efficient. We've got a timeout called, so Alleycats are going to talk this one over.
In this situation, Kelsey, with the deficit being so large, what do you do? Do you start to play some of the younger guys? Do you start to play guys that haven't gotten a ton of experience? What do you think, you try to do in this situation?
Well, they're almost all young guys
right.
on the Hellcats.
Yeah.
So, no, I don't change the lineup here because those starters need more reps against such a solid Union team. So taking these full-speed UFA competition match reps are going to be good practice for the Alleycats. So if I'm the Alleycats, I'm continuing to play my game, stick to the game plan, and just put in the work now.
Mm-hmm. There's Pavel Giannis again, just leading his Union squad.
And they sure are happy to have him back
Yeah.
in a Union jersey after 2 years in LA.
By the way, they're doing a part of the game where, or part of the fan experience where they have the fans chuck mini Frisbees to see who gets the Frisbee closest to the buckets. And whoever gets the closest one wins a prize. So one of the guys over there was former Alleycat Nick Hutton, who is no longer with the team but is enjoying it as a fan.
One of the many retirees from last season after spending a decade in an Alleycats jersey.
Mm-hmm.
See if the Alleycats can stop the bleeding here late in the fourth. Second and third quarters were a lot closer of a game, but quarter four is looking a lot like a quarter one, with the Union outscoring the Cats 6-1.
And it was 6-2 in the first quarter, and there's still 6 minutes to go in this. So Alleycats do the wise thing of not touching it. That's the other thing too. I mean, it looks like on polls, Kelsey, it looks like they're having trouble figuring out who's supposed to get it.
The Union have been a very good polling team and put the Cats in some rough positions, but looks like that poll was out of bounds, so that's why Betch gets to bring it up to the brick mark.
All right, gives the Cats better starting field position. Ben Close is in. He's in his third season with Indianapolis. Also out there, Joshua Gabella. 3 goals and 2 assists for him this year. And a nice job executing by Indianapolis as getting down there to score this one, Robbie Davenport.
Good work there from Robbie Davenport, beating everybody up the line to the corner for the strike cut there. Alleycats make quick work of that possession, which is nice to see if you're Indianapolis.
It's Robbie's 3rd goal of the year, his first of tonight. Still 5:25 to go. A lot of time left, but not probably enough time to overcome the deficit. Chicago was scoring 19 a game and allowing 15 coming in. So I think if you're Indianapolis and you can get this number over 15, that way that's a positive that you can come out of here with and say, hey, the Union were giving up 15 goals on average. So if you can at least finish higher than that, that'll give you something to build around. But yeah, this is I had a feeling that this Union team was really good, and they have done nothing to prove otherwise. They have, wow. And they can beat you in a variety of ways. Short passes, the long passes. They don't take unnecessary risks, and when they do huck it, it's when they've got an open player. They just, it's fundamental. It really is.
That's something that Coach Woods talked about before the game, wanting to win with the fundamentals there. Play possession Frisbee, and they have certainly done that.
And they play to the possession well from the standpoint of it's almost like they let it come to them and don't force it. If it's the type of possession where they need a quick score, they get it. If it's one where they need to take longer, they get that too. Case in point of another score they get on that try. It's Paul Arters getting his first goal of the night and his second this season. He has played his entire career with the Chicago Union, so he's got to love every minute of that.
Union have a pretty tough second half of the season coming up. They have 8 games in the next 5 weeks. Little marathon stretch. This is their last weekend, at least for quite a while, with only 1 game.
Right. And it's going to start getting that way for everybody, because the Alleycats have a tough stretch coming up too later this month, where they have back-to-back games, one in Chicago on June 27th, and then back home here on the 28th. That'll be our next broadcast, where Kelsey and I will be with you. That is another thing that's been very surprising to me, Kelsey. Are you a little shocked that Seth Goodeman has not gotten in the end zone in this second half?
Definitely uncharacteristic of him, but if you're the Union and you've looked at the stat line and you've watched the film, you know that Seth is the guy you have to shut down. I mean, all the Indy storylines all season have led back to Seth, so can only imagine they have taken that very seriously, are putting their best defenders on him, so Seth should take it as a compliment.
And also as a learning lesson to know he's going to start getting more of that treatment.
His days of flying under the radar are over.
There's another Huck try. And right, it's like you knew we were talking about him. Seth Goodeman leaps up and makes the nice interception there.
Right on cue, right when his team needed him. And rare break opportunity for Indianapolis.
They, still do not have a break conversion. 0 of 14. Trying to change that. Carson Chamberlain dove down to get it. I think we might have a first break conversion of the night, and we do. It is Sam Ingham, who is going to be the player that we are supposed to speak with after the game. So, well done by him. This is, I know this isn't going to be the result the Alleycats want, Kelsey, but they might have something pretty special with Sam Ingham here.
This is certainly his breakout game, and we spoke with one of the owners, Tim Held, earlier, and he was kind of naming some players that were young and upcoming that he was excited about, and one of them was that man right there, Sam Ingham. Hey, this is going to go down in his story as his breakout UFA game, and against the Chicago Union, one of the toughest opponents in the league. And if you're Indy, you love to see the fight there for the team to keep working and get that break. Again, no breaks at all for the Cats until right then at 2:50 left in the game. So Cats have something to build on.
That's very, and that even then, if you might say, well, they're 2 and 3. Well, but even by that standard, they do find a way to usually convert at least one break, especially by the time the fourth quarter rolls around. So highly unusual for them. But you needed to put some film together. And like you said, Kelsey, it's all about getting reps at this point. Henry Goldenberg with a nice throw up the sideline. And, of course, Dan DeMarte from Belgium, who has made several nice plays, makes another one here.
And we've talked quite a bit about him tonight. That's his 4th goal. He's also got a block and 2 assists. And hey, that's why he's in conversation for Rookie of the Year. The Union are very excited to have him in Chicago.
And also, too, he's spaced it out. He's had at least 1 goal every quarter.
Cats have not found an answer for him, and it's hard when you have somebody that fast, that athletic.
There's the pull by the Union. There were some, also too, you know, I had a few people ask me this, Kelsey, a lot of former Detroit Mechanic players on the Alleycats. What's kind of the difference between the way the Alleycats play compared to the way the Detroit Mechanics play?
Those cities just being so close in proximity, they've always shared players back and forth.
Nice try at it. Jake Wall, I think, again, to your point about reps, Kelsey, the more reps he gets with opportunities like that, he will continue to grow and learn from it.
He is one of the youngest guys on the Alleycats, and he has a very high ceiling.
There's the Union calling a timeout, trying to get the right line in here. This is clearly Coach Dave Woods for Chicago, trying to play as if he's not just getting ready for this game, but also future games too.
Yeah, Alleycats did a good job setting the double team quickly, so Payne smartly calls that timeout, and Union will sub their O-line onto the field.
Yep, there's Pavlianis sharing a moment with Damari. And Drew Shepard doing all he can to coach his team up and help them understand that communicate out there, try to be one unit. Some of the players that looks like they'll be a big part of this next point: Kaiden Young, Michael Ames, Joel Close. He's in his 3rd year with the Alleycats. He's been a pretty good force on defense, 4 blocks so far. Also, Jake Wall staying in the game. You know, even though he didn't hang on to that disc, Kelsey, I kind of want to see more of Jake Wall.
Oh, the Alleycats are excited about him as well. Had a pretty good showing last year as a college freshman. So, I mean, he's one of the youngest guys out there. We have not seen the last of him, I promise you that.
Hammer throw by Goldenberg. Dangerous at that. Knocked away. Integrity call.
Looks like it was a strip, and yeah, Drew calls that one on himself.
Yeah, Drew says, I got a hold of his arm. So that is a part of ultimate action. If you didn't know, as there's a miscommunication on that throw, giving the Cats the disc back. You can call your own fouls. It's called the integrity rule. So
something special about ultimate that not I was going to say not a lot, but do any other sports have that?
I don't think so. Noah Wall to the end zone, leaping grab, Drew Hoppy, and you know the Indianapolis Alleycats love that for him. He's battled so much to get back on the field. So a great moment for Drew here late in the game as he comes down with that score.
Long time coming after tearing his ACL last season, and he was having such a great year last year as well. So tough that he went down with that injury. This is his first game back, and the Alleycats are so excited to have him back in the game.
So we are supposed to speak with Sam Ingham after this game. Young Alleycat fans in attendance. I just can't wait to hear from him about how he was somehow able to make that catch to get the 10th goal of the game back in the third quarter.
Maybe a sheer willpower.
Yeah, and concentration. I mean, that takes a lot to be able to come down with the disc, and when people are flapping around you trying to take it away from you and you somehow hold on to it. Had a lot of great plays like that. Goff, and catcher's Giannis with it. Giannis going for it all and shaking free. Dan DeMare yet again. But that's one thing I've noticed, Kelsey, about the Union. Dan DeMare is really loving playing with Pavel Giannis. Those two guys are clearly enjoying spending time together. Their chemistry is blossoming. And Dave Woods has really got to be excited about what he's seen out of those two guys and his whole team tonight, really.
It's been awesome to see those two connect so well and so early on in the season. I mean, only the 4th game for the Union, so lots of season to go. And, hey, like you were saying, they're playing for September championship weekend.
Of course, you always want to do well in your division first. And Chicago trying to put a stranglehold on that. Make no mistake about it, when they play the Minnesota Wind Chill again, that I would be surprised if that's not the Watch UFA game of the week at some point, because that will be one heck of a matchup. And you know both teams are going to be making adjustments from the first meeting. Alleycats trying to get one more score before the game ends here. Ingham going. Tough play, of course, into triple coverage, and that ends up going out of bounds. So what a statement made by the Chicago Union tonight as they win it 26-14 over the Indianapolis Alleycats. They improved to 4-0 on the season, and the Alleycats dropped to 2-4 this year. Kelsey and I will step aside. We'll tell you some about the stats, and we'll also talk to Sam Ingham and much more when we come back on WatchUFA.tv.
What you say, cause you on a fight night. Yeah, we gon' quit, moving like a dynamite. Got a lot of enemies that try to take control of me, so I put it in the past so they won't notice me.
Betch has a step downfield, and he'll go for the assist as well. From one layout to another, the Alleycats find a way to get it done.
High-powered point there.
Going for Havey. Havey's able to get there! Come on, Betch dives, and he got it! Oh my goodness, Nicholas Betch.
What you say, cause you on a fight night. Yeah, we gon' quit, moving like a dynamite. Got a lot of enemies that try to take control of me, so I put it in the past so they won't notice me.
And he'll go for the assist as well. Goodeman from one layout to another.
Back here at Kuntz Stadium in Indianapolis as the Indianapolis Alleycats fall tonight 26-14. John Herrick, Kelsey Sparks, and now Sam Ingham from the Alleycats joining us. Sam, I know a tough result tonight, and not the result you wanted, but you did make a couple of incredible plays in the end zone. One where you looked like you deflected the disc to yourself.
Yeah.
How were you able to do that?
Yeah, I just want to thank my teammates. You know, they put me in a position to make good plays. Our coaching staff really drew up good plays today. Allowed me to make some plays outside, so that's why I was able to make those.
And you guys are such a young team. It looks like you just need some more reps and stuff to get together. How valuable were those reps that you got tonight?
You know what? Chicago's one of the best teams in the league, so playing against a good team any day can really help you kind of mold and build for the rest of the season. So,
what's been your favorite part about playing this year?
I love playing Frisbee, just the late night practices. Those are some of my favorite things, you know, meeting all the guys, meeting all the team. So that's probably been my favorite thing, just, you know, connections with everybody, making new friends for sure.
Kelsey, anything?
Great game, Sam.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Coach Shepard told us that this is your first game on the O-line. How did you feel when he told you were moving to O-line?
Oh, I was super excited. You know, I love new challenges, new stuff like that. I got to say, this is the most exhausted I've ever been playing. So, you know, I'm excited, and I hope I did some things to stay on the O-line. So I hope I keep playing. Yeah.
Something tells me that you did.
Sam, thank you so much.
Yeah.
And congratulations on that heck of a play you made in the end zone. So Sam Ingham, a member of the Indianapolis Alleycats. Sam, we appreciate you joining us, and good luck the rest of the year.
Thank you, guys.
All right. We'll just take a look at the final stats real quick. Obviously not the result the Alleycats wanted here, Kelsey, and looking at the final numbers, it shows why. But one of the things that the Alleycats did do, I think, a little bit better job of near the end, they did get a couple huck conversions that we were talking about, and the red zone opportunities a little bit better as the game went on. But like Sam said, my goodness, this is a Chicago Union team that might be the toughest Chicago Union squad they've had in program history.
Maybe the toughest one in program history. So for the Alleycats, hey, great to get some reps against what could be a championship caliber team. Definitely loved to see the Alleycats build on their offensive strategy as the game went on. They did get a break late in the game, so good reps for a young Cats squad.
So coming up next for Indianapolis, their next game is June 21st at Minnesota. They are not at home again until June 28th against the Madison Radicals, and of course Kelsey Sparks and I will be back for that one for you. But your final score tonight, all Chicago Union in this one, as they improve to 4-0 and they knock off the Indianapolis Alleycats 26-14. Big thanks to all of you out there for watching, and a huge thank you to our entire crew led by Jordan Shue. You've been watching Indianapolis Alleycat Ultimate Action on WatchUFA.tv.